Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and also thank you, Ranking Member Cantwell and former Chairman Cantwell for asking that question about El Paso. Senator Cantwell and I were leading this committee during the time when we were investigating the 737 MAX 8 tragedies, and this is the most heart-rending and gut-wrenching issue that we could possibly ever investigate, and I just don't have the words to tell the families how awful this is and how terrible I realize they must feel. And thank you, Chairwoman Homendy, for your leadership in this. Since the accident in January of last year, what has changed at Reagan National Airport between the FAA, the towers, and the National Guard in the interim before our act can be passed by the House?
Well, one thing that did change is that we issued 2 urgent safety recommendations for immediate action in March of this past year, just a couple of months after the accident occurred, calling on the Secretary of Transportation to take action about the helicopter route itself, Route 4. And within 2 hours, it's the fastest we have ever had an entity implement our recommendation. Within 2 hours, he did so. He prohibited mixed traffic between Haynes Point and Wilson Bridge, which is now in an interim final rule before him, but he's continued that prohibition on mixed traffic and has required ADSB out in the airspace. He has authorized additional personnel in the tower. However, the tower is facing some challenges. The numbers are lower because a lot of people are going through training, but a number of other measures need to take place.
Oh, sure,
but he's done a great job.
Understand that, but things have been done within weeks of this accident based on your recommendations.
Yes, and I have to say, this was his first day on the job.
Right, yes.
It was his first day on the job. This will forever stay with him, which is why he is so committed to aviation safety, and he's been an excellent partner on this with us.
Now, when you speak to skeptical members of the other body, is it the cost to general aviation that they mention as the only reason they're skeptical about the bill? What other reasons do they give for not readily passing what's been passed unanimously over here?
I've heard a number of things. I've heard cost. I've heard aircraft.
That would be the cost to the general aviation owners?
I've heard for everybody. Cost for general aviation, 135, 121, regional airlines, major airlines. I've heard difficulty in retrofitting, planes being out of service. I've heard privacy concerns. I've heard, and I'm sure Senator Budd is going to raise this, I've heard concerns about tracking aircraft with ADSB out, where some airports and third-party entities are tracking aircraft, especially GA aircraft, to charge them landing and ramp fees, which is something you all can address. Those are the main issues I've heard about.
Let me ask you this. On the headsets, it just strikes me as so inconceivable that this helicopter had the ADSB, but the 2 pilots could not hear it on their headsets. Why was that, and how readily could that be fixed?
So it can be fixed. We have issued a recommendation for them to have an integrated headset so that they can hear any sort of alerting. But we've also recommended better technology on the helicopters so they're not relying on iPads on their legs while they're in a night vision goggle, high workload environment. I will say the Army has been very responsive. They have completely replaced their helicopters at the 12th Battalion from the old Lima models to the new Mike models, and they have stated they're going to implement that technology. They're still working on the headset issue and haven't quite committed to that, but implement better technology for ADSB in and out by the third quarter of 2027, though they're asking for $500 million. So since you're in charge of that, I will ask for $500 million.
And if the chair will indulge me, should the House pass this bill that has now passed unanimously in the Senate, should they pass it next week, how soon could it be implemented?
I think certain measures can be implemented immediately. Some measures will take a little bit of time. I don't know how much time, but it would take a little bit of time. And FAA would have to sort some of it out through a rulemaking in that amount of time, like ADSBN, but in that amount of time, the risk still is in our airspace. So every day that goes by, we face the potential for another catastrophe to occur.
Well, thank you for your stewardship of this issue.
Thank you.